from the past.
Black people are not oppressed. Stop playing the victim. Every day I get some form of this comment from white people on my anti-racism education videos. Look at your clothes. Look at your nails. Look at your house. Yeah, you look so oppressed.
So real quick, this young lady has a very interesting YouTube and TikTok platform because she talks about anti-racism. Granted, I'm going to put my beliefs about anti-racism aside. There's no way that you would look at her family or look at her and get the word oppressed. That is not the word that you would come up with. Even in this video, she's going to talk about something that you probably noticed in the video as well. And I'll let her do that. But the idea and the notion that she's oppressed really, I think, in my opinion, diminishes the fact that she has a fantastic looking family. She and her husband look like they love each other. They got some great looking kids. And the notion, the idea, the drumbeat that she's oppressed seems to be really a dumb argument. But let her finish, Jason. Let her go.
I even recently commented that he couldn't hear what I was saying in my video because the fountain water in our pool was too loud. Enter racist, passive-aggressive sarcasm here.
Say, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Right. She has a pool in her backyard. That is not a small pool, by the way. It's an in-ground. I mean, come on, man. Come on. That's not oppressed by any means, shape, or measure. So because people are calling her out saying you're not oppressed, you look fantastic, you have a beautiful family, you seem to be prospering well, why are you even making this notion of being oppressed? Why are you even using this? Now, listen to her excuse.
If you feel slighted or envious that my husband and I are black and we own a home with a pool, and you're white and you don't, and you feel like that's not fair, I have news for you.
I'm going to stop right here. I'm black. I ain't got a pool in my yard. So what are you about to say? I'm not, see, she's assuming, you heard it. She assumes that you're envious or jealous of her. Maybe you're just saying like, hey, you are not oppressed. You're living the American dream. You're prospering and doing well. Why are you saying that you're oppressed when in fact you're clearly not? And she's actually flaunting the fact, like people say, like, you dress fantastic. Your home looks amazing. You're not oppressed. And she's using that and saying that you're jealous of her. Nobody's jealous of her. Nobody's envious of her. They're pointing out a fact. Ma'am, you're not oppressed.
The same capitalist, white supremacist system that seeks to systemically and inequitably oppress, marginalize, and disenfranchise black people.
Listen to what she said. A capitalist system. She seems to be doing well in the capitalist system. Don't you see? That is, what am I seeing here? What am I missing here? You're doing pretty well in the capitalist system. How will you be doing better in a different system, ma'am? I don't understand. And how are you oppressed?
Is the same system that is keeping you from building the type of financial freedom that you desire for yourself. And
she's assuming that these people don't have financial freedom themselves. They could have their own pool. They could be flaunting it too. And they're just saying that they're not oppressed and neither are you. That's all they're saying. She's assuming jealousy is the reason why people are, or the lack of having something is the reason people are calling her out. When no, actually, it's the lack of oppression and evidence of you being oppressed. That's what people are calling you out about.
For your family. If you're not a wealthy white man, these systems are not set up to benefit you either.
But you're a wealthy black woman.
This is why it's important for all of us to come together to dismantle the system of white supremacy and systemic racism. Anti-racism is the key to unlocking your mind from the lies of white supremacy culture and the insidious nature of anti-black racism. Start or continue your anti-racism.
So just because somebody says, ma'am, you're not oppressed. You're not oppressed. You're prospering and you're using the capitalist system to teach your anti-racism teachings. You're not doing it for free. I guarantee you. I guarantee you she's not teaching anti-racism for free. She wants a fee for that. So therefore, she's using the capitalist system to say the capitalist system is wrong. How does that work? I don't understand.
Racism education journey today at the link in my bio. No excuses.
I'll pass. I appreciate it. I'll pass. I'm not oppressed, and neither is this young lady. She's not oppressed. She's not. She's wasting her time. She's lamenting and rather trying to live action role play something when she's truly right in front of you demonstrating that she's not oppressed. She's not struggling or anything of that nature. Sure, she could probably do classes on how to prosper, teach Black people how to manage their money better, how to be better financial stewards. That would probably be a great way to use her skills and talents and bless the community and still be prosperous, have a pool and all that kind of great stuff. But nope, she'd rather talk about anti-racism and its foolishness. And again, I'll just say it again, anti-racism isn't a thing. Eladio says this. The microaggression nonsense reminds me of when Macy's did not want to use FOB due to possibly meaning fresh off the boat. Their programs still use the FOB term. What's FOB? What's FOB stand for, Eladio? I've never heard that before. Fresh off the boat. Man, people come up with that. They just want to be offended. That's the thing. Like, people choose to be offended by a word. I don't choose to be offended by it. That's fine. Freight on board. Really? Freight on board. Or family of business. Interesting. Okay, I don't know. But guess what? I can choose to see the word FOB, and I can choose to believe that it means fresh off the boat. But guess what? I make the choice to be offended by it, or I can see it and say, okay, and keep it moving. I can KIM that thing, or I can be offended. I just keep it moving.
How dare you, sir?
What can you do? Just don't be offended. You don't have to be offended. But again, we are in the offense Olympics and the microaggression, the intersectionality Olympics, and as many times, as many ways as you can be offended, you will try to use that. Just stop. You don't have to do that. You don't have to. There's no mandate that you have to behave like that. You can literally say, no, I'm not going to do that. And it's really that easy. It's not hard at all. I choose not to. I don't have to be offended. I don't have to act ridiculous like I've never heard the N-word used before. I choose not to use it. And even when I do, I get very, very, very convicted about doing it. But guess what? I'm not going to act like I've never heard it before. I'm not going to clutch my pearls and get all in a tizzy when somebody uses a word. I don't know how we went from sticks and stones may break my bones to words are violence. I don't know how we got there. I have no idea. If anybody can tell me how we got here, show me on a map how we got from sticks and stones may break my bones to words are violence or silence is violence. If you could tell me how we got there, I would love to know so we can get a round trip. We can get that one-way ticket back to Normalville, because I have no idea what this is.
How dare you, sir?
Today, when we hear about the Black Lives Matter movement, it polarizes people.
Because it's Marxist. But watch this. Go, let her continue.
Want to yell White Lives Matter. I was on campus at a Black Lives Matter die-in when students started yelling down the hall, White Lives Matter.
Emotional damage. You want some therapy?
Let me say this. The Black Lives Matter movement wasn't anti-white.
What was it?
It was born out of the desperation and pain of too many lost boys and men.
It can't be. See, she's regurgitating the foolishness that she has ingested, because if that were true, Black Lives Matters would have started decades ago in inner cities, because there's far more Black boys, Black men, Black lives taken in inner cities by Black people than there are ever going to be from whites, ever.
Oh, I got a live one here.
I'm just saying, if you cared enough, that's what you would be rioting about. You would be upset about. You'd be protesting about. You'd be marching about the fact that we kill more of our own people, period, end of day. Catch me outside. DearWokesy@gmail.com.
Too much invisibility, too much inequity. Black Lives Matter isn't saying white lives don't. It's saying black lives don't matter enough. Let's face it.
No, it's not.
My
That,
son.
that can't say that. It can't say that. BLM cannot be saying that black lives don't matter enough. You know why? Because one of the things that BLM stands for and desired to see was the dissolution of the nuclear family. That is the worst thing. That's the worst blight to happen to black people, period. No, it's not. The worst thing that has happened to black people is abortion. By the way, Black Lives Matter is supported by Planned Parenthood. Ma'am, what you're saying is ignorant and insane. Black Lives Matter does not care about black lives. If they did, they would be doing something about black lives that take black lives. They wouldn't be supported by the organization that kills more black babies in New York City than our black babies are born. DearWokeC@gmail.com. If you have a question, concern, or comment, or argue with management, please feel free to let them know. Black Lives Matter doesn't care one iota about black people. They don't. They don't. Period. Now they can riot and get upset. Oh, blah, 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 whatever. It doesn't matter. It's still the truth. It's still the observable reality that you don't care about black people. If you cared about black people, you'd want the best for black people. You wouldn't want black people, brown people, yellow people, red people, white people, any people to do things that deliberately diminish and make them worse. So Black Lives Matters. Kick rocks. All of the rocks. From here to Neptune. Kick them all. Because you don't care about black people. You don't. DearWokeC@gmail.com. Kiana said right here, did y'all see Alton's video? And that's Alton Johnson's video about how the anti-capitalism class at Princeton is saying that being black should be a disability because, like I've always said, the real racists are people on the left. So they're actually saying that we are physically deficient, which if you go back and look at the original definition of racism, the belief that a class is better because of physicalities or genetics. That is it. This is it right here. Because of systemic racism. We about to get checks, y'all. Whatever. They're just saying dumb stuff because they are themselves the true racists. Mary, the bad thing is, I don't think there's a floor to the insanity. I don't think there is. I'm not going to say I've heard it all because I can't say that in good faith that I've heard it all because who knows? Who knows where they're going to be tomorrow? Grant says, can I identify as black and collect a check for having the mental disability of not knowing what race I am? I don't see any problem with it. I think that's probably the logic that they use. It is insulting, Eric. That's why I don't play the game. Like, I'm not participating in this. If you want to believe that, then you just knock yourself unconscious. Have a grand old time. Just enjoy yourself. I'm not going to participate in it. Nope. I'm not participating. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know what disability you think there is. You just, okay, knock yourself out, man. Make that work. Work it out. I'm not participating. And I think that's what most of us should do. Just say, no, I'm not going to participate in this craziness. Just stop it. Just stop it. But we'd have to actually be willing to be ostracized, to be looked at, to stand out, to be the sore thumb and say, no, I'm not going to participate anymore. Stop it. Just stop it. That's really it. And until we're willing to do that, I think that's going to continue to happen. And people are going to say, well, I got to go along to get along. But why? Why? Is there a good reason why I should participate in foolishness? Is there a good reason why I should participate in the charade? Is there a reason? I don't know. Tell me why I should participate in the insanity that you call woke ideology. Why? In the name of being racially whatever, I don't even know what you're trying to do. to say that black people have a disability, that's crazy.
Oh, somebody, he needs some milk.
That is so insulting. Yeah, y'all worked it out yourselves. You worked it out. I am not going to participate. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take a drink.
5 ways to be a better anti-racist.
We don't care.
You know, since the Bible didn't tell me that I had to be an anti-racist, I am just going to be a better person. And by being a better person, I want to be a more effective Christian that demonstrates and reflects the image and the nature and the qualities of Christ in my life. And I want to project that out into the world so they can see Christ. So, yeah, I'm going to actually pass on being an anti-racist, but I'm going to let you finish.
1, educate yourself on the history and legacy of racism. I highly recommend the video series Race, The Power of an Illusion as a starting point.
Keep telling yourself that, darling.
Or you could study the scriptures. I mean, you're making it sound like the only sin on the planet is racism. And I think we know that that's not the case. So maybe we should study the scriptures and allow them to change and work in our hearts through the power of the Holy Spirit and the preaching of the gospel to make us better people overall. How about that?
2, begin the tough work of uncovering your own hidden racial biases. Harvard has an online implicit bias test that will really help with that.
Let me explain to you why I don't care.
But you're assuming that people already have a racial bias from the beginning. And since you all have changed the definition of the word racist and racism, now anybody and everybody could be racist. So it really is a non-starter. I'm going to go back with, how about we just study the scriptures? How about we allow God's word to inform all of us, red and yellow, black and white, how we should understand and deal with one another. How about that?
Flag on each and every one of y'all.
3, expand beyond the good person, bad person binary when it comes to racism. You just think because you're a good person, you can't have racist ideas, you are on the wrong track.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now, there you go again. The problem is not whether or not somebody's good or bad. The problem is whether or not somebody is forgiven or not forgiven. And what I mean by that is, have they taken their sins to the cross? Have they taken their sins to Christ and been forgiven? Because that's ultimately the problem. And once we've gotten that problem solved, actually, we'll never get it solved. So let's just keep working on that. So you keep walking in the woods and I'm going to keep walking through the scripts.
4, follow content creators of color. Give support to these pages and allow those perspectives to help you reprogram your own thoughts.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Now, this is one that I can actually get behind. Not only should we follow content creators of color, because keep in mind, everybody has a color, so there's not really a distinction there. I think we should follow Christian content creators. So how about this one? Everybody follow good Christian content creators because they will help change your perspective. They will help you see where you're falling short and ultimately who we turn to when we realize that truth that I've fallen short, I turn to Christ. So down in the description is a list of other Christian content creators that I think you should be checking out. So go check those out. And I appreciate you, man. That's a good one.
And 5, develop an intersectional analysis. That means understanding that all these systems of oppression, including racism, sexism, homophobia, trans antagonism, transphobia, all those things do not
Whoa, wait. Are you about to say that they do not exist? Because guess what? I agree with you. Just because someone tells someone that they disagree with their lifestyle, just because someone does not support and endorse someone's lifestyle, depraved lifestyle, does not mean that they are afraid of them. There is no phobia. It's just that I don't support your lifestyle. And I do think it's interesting and kind of weird that a black man would be tying people's sexual preferences to something that is germane, like your skin color. So your black skin color is not the same as somebody's sexual preference. I think that's a little bit weird, and that's a lap too far, but I'm gonna let you finish up. Let's go.
Just in a vacuum, which means we need to be more sensitive towards people who occupy multiple of those identities.
What's wrong with you people?
And just in case you're not clear what he meant, basically he's saying that the victimhood Olympics are still in full effect. So whoever has the most victimhood check marks, they're the winner of the victimhood Olympics. So that's what he's basically telling you to do, is support the victim Olympics. You don't have to do that.
That one there was a violation. Personally, I wouldn't have it.
Many of you may or you may not know, I only wear Adidas. I've never worn Nikes. I've never worn Reebok, even though Reebok is owned by Adidas. I've never worn, no, I take that back. I've worn some off brands that we wore in my CrossFit gym. So like Noble and Innovate. But for the most part, I've only ever worn Adidas since 9th grade. I probably have had more than 200 pairs of Adidas, from socks to shirts to jackets to hats to fill in the blank, lifting straps, gym bags, everything. I only wear Adidas. The reason being is because my first friends, when I came out of high school, well, let me back up a little taste. When I was younger, we couldn't afford Nikes. Nikes were expensive and we couldn't afford them. So I was wearing like Converse when I was in middle school. And of course, off brands like Keds. So I got to high school. I actually had a job too. So I got to high school and I had a job. So I had a little bit of money. And my first two friends in high school were two brothers that 100% positively loved Run DMC. It was idolatrous in retrospect. They loved Run DMC. They dressed like them. They talked like them, and they wore Adidas. I worked in the mall as a teenager and I had a little bit of money. And when I had an opportunity to buy some gym shoes, I bought Adidas, and that was it. I never looked back. I've only ever worn Adidas, and literally it's so that was when I was 13, 14 years old. I'll be 50 next April. Yeah, that long. I've only wore Adidas. But you know what you'll never hear me do? You will never hear me go on about why Nike is a bad brand of shoes, why they're overpriced and what they do with their sweatshop workers, or how terrible it is that Phil Knight stole the design for the bottom of the shoes that became the original running shoes. You'll never hear me do that. You know why? Because I don't care. I don't care. My wife and kids have started to wear Nikes now. And there's Nikes laying around in my kitchen and Nike socks in my wash machine sometimes. I don't care. I'm just going to keep wearing my Adidas and be fine and happy with them. I got some Adidas socks on right now. Most of the time, it's fair to say, if you see me anywhere, there's a likelihood I have something on that's Adidas. I mean, it's almost guaranteed. So why did I bring that up? Because I'm agnostic to Nike. I don't care. I see people with it. I don't care, not a bit. And so, but again, you'll never hear me just turn on my camera and regale against Nike. And I don't like Nike. I really don't actually like the brand. I don't think they're a decent company. But guess what? I won't do that. Gave you that story before we read the dusty comments, because if you don't care, Brandon, why do you talk about them so much? You could just go and live your life and talk about how great it is to live your life and do your life and doing life. But no, you just can't seem to keep God out your mouth. And you know why, Brandon? It's because you know, deep down inside, it's more than just a Nike and Adidas type of situation. It's more than just one brand of gym shoes over another one. You know deep down inside that God exists and that you're rebelling against him. And so I'm doing these videos to keep pushing you and keep agitating you to consider your soul. One day soon, you'll close your eyes, Brandon. And it won't matter if you had Nikes or Adidas or Reeboks or barefoot on your feet. It will matter who is going to be your mediator. And I think you know that already, though.